Just ahead, the Executives Breakfast Club of Oak Brook discuss regional transportation issues impacting the Chicago area. Executives Breakfast Club of Oak Brook meets for 8 consecutive months out of the year to examine issues affecting the Chicagoland area. This runs about 1 hour.
For our longtime members, you'll notice we've changed the format of our program to ensure we hear more and varied voices. And I'd like to introduce our moderator for this morning's discussion, Dennis Culleton. Dennis is a longtime resident of DuPage County from nearby Naperville, and he's Executive Vice President of the Res Publica Group, a Chicago public affairs consulting firm where he represents businesses, including many who are addressing the very issues we're going to discuss this morning. So, Dennis, welcome.
Okay. Thank you very much, Rob. Appreciate it. The panelists are coming up. It's great to have everyone back together again for another Executive Breakfast Club gathering. And happy Valentine's Day. Don't go home empty-handed. That's the advice I have for all of you who have made that mistake. So we are here, for those of you who haven't been here in a while. All year long we've been talking about something we call the Illinois Business Agenda, which is how can we seize an agenda for growth. It was born out of some frustration by civic and business leaders that there was so much political discord and gridlock, especially in Springfield, that the agenda for growth was getting lost in the shuffle. And in fact, gridlock is what we are going to cover this morning. We're very happy, by the way, you've noticed there's a camera in the back of the room, that the Illinois channel is here, which I think speaks well of the way that the discussion about the Illinois business agenda has been going so far this year. So let me get right to it. Mass transit is critical to the people of this region and to the business community. All you have to do is listen to the traffic reports to hear what we're going through on a daily basis. Those of you this morning in the dark navigating the potholes that have been erupting. And yet for all of that ever-present congestion, we were barely able to gather enough consensus in Springfield to pass a transit package just last month to keep the status quo. And as you'll hear this morning, not everybody believes necessarily that that package was the way to go. We're joined by 4 terrific speakers this morning. John HILKEVITCH has been the transportation reporter at the Chicago Tribune since 1997, and his Getting Around column is mandatory reading on Monday mornings. His transportation beat covers everything from plane crashes, trains, planes, automobiles, and UFOs. He sees firsthand the business communities and residents are affected by the transportation issues that we face, and he was also a co-leader of a Pulitzer Prize-winning team that looked at another gridlock issue, gridlock in aviation. So Pulitzer Prize, not too shabby, John. We have Phil Pagano here on my right, who is the executive director of Metra, and under his leadership, Metra is recognized as the premier commuter rail agency in the country, running the largest network of commuter railroad and the second largest ridership in the country. And in full disclosure, Metra is also a client of mine and my firm's, but all of you will enjoy hearing Phil, who does not beat around the bush when talking about issues that he's passionate about. Kevin BRUBAKER, over to Phil's right, is the Deputy Director and Project Manager for the Midwest High-Speed Rail Network. It's a project from the Environmental Law and Policy Center. And before that, he was a policy advisor and Deputy Chief of Staff to Governor Sunderland of Rhode Island. And he was also involved as a leader of Save the Bay when he was in Rhode Island as well. He is now working on the Midwest High-Speed Rail Network. And last but not least, ironically, to my left, but to your right, appropriately, Jim Tobin is the founder of the National Taxpayers United of Illinois, which is the largest statewide taxpayer group in Illinois. And it was founded in 1976 with the mission to save Illinois citizens on income, property, sales, and other taxes. He's been a zealous watchdog. Many of you have seen him in the media over the years. Reporters know they can always get a good quote from Jim. I heard a quote attributed to President Reagan yesterday with regard to government and taxes. It was, if it moves, tax it. If it doesn't move, subsidize it. If it moves too fast, regulate it. I would suspect that many members of Jim's group subscribe to that theory as well. But let's begin with the scene setter from you, John HILKEVITCH. Can you fill us in? We had, as I said, doomsday after doomsday after doomsday regarding a transit package. And I think a lot of people in this room probably are unclear what that achieved. Is it merely a short-term fix, or does it provide anything in the long term? And what else do you see going on with regard to transit and policymakers in the weeks and months ahead as the session begins in Springfield?
Well, good morning. The sales tax increase that is the basis of this operating subsidy really just covers that. Operations for CTA, Metra, and PACE. It doesn't begin to address the capital needs of the three transit agencies, which are huge. We have slow zones on the CTA where trains are creeping along as slow as 6 miles an hour. We have bridges and viaducts on the CTA and Metra where trains have to go slow because the viaducts are crumbling. So that's a whole issue that has to be addressed. What the legislature finally did, congratulating itself, I think needlessly, because it's something they should have done at least 5 years ago, was increase the operating subsidy to the three transit agencies so that we could avert these doomsdays after doomsdays that we've seen. And so I think what we're going to have, at least for the next 5, 8, possibly 10 years, is some stability on the operating side where the transit agencies will be able to balance their operating budgets. And that doesn't mean there may not be some need for fare increases along the way. Metra just increased their fares on February 1st. CTA may have to do that as early as next year. But this does bring some stability on the operating side. And it's needed. Other cities have done this. New York realized the need for this many years ago after a series of subway fires and horrible congestion there. Here in the Chicago region, we're the second most congested region in the entire country. You spend an average of 55 hours behind the wheel in addition to your normal commute just because of congestion. And CTA, Metra, and PACE move almost 2 million people a day. So it's vital.
Well, Phil, with that as a backdrop, do you have enough resources to run the kind of mass transit network in this region that you need as the leader of Metra and that you see being required of your colleagues who run the other transit agencies?
Well, I think as John accurately reported, what was done this year in Springfield could in fact address for a long period of time the transit agency's operating needs. The second bite of the apple that is clearly necessary is providing a stable capital improvement funding source. We in this state had 2 bond issues, one under Thompson, one under Ryan. We need a significant bond program.